Hello and welcome to Cute Pixel. Today I'm continuing my open source software development stream. Right now working on my Twitch craps table chatbot. For those of you who want to know what my next stream is, I'm streaming next Sunday, April 14th, 9 a.m. Most likely continuing the work you will see today on my Twitch craps table chatbot. Let's get into it. I will start out with my traditional review of what I've been doing over the last stream, and look at the work that I want to do going forward. So these are the commits I made during my last stream. First was to update my message formatting. I think this was... I noticed there are some inconsistencies with how I outputted the amounts in user messages, and I think I updated to always use a colon between the text and the amount, so it's always consistent. Then last week, I also added support for the any craps bet. That is a proposition bet that basically says that you're going to roll any crap value, so a 2, 3, or 12, and not something else. And it's a one roll bet, and it pays out, I forget the exact payment, but it's a decent payout. It's not a great bet. You know, the best bet of the game is probably the don't pass, don't come. But it's okay. We added documentation for the payouts for 2 and 12 on the field bet. Since casinos sometimes mix up those bets and will pay them out differently, we added documentation for those. I'll show you what that looks like. That goes to my player guide, which I have up here. It basically said 2 pays 2 to 1 and 12 pays 3 to 1. So just to document exactly what those pay, because casinos sometimes aren't always consistent with how those bets pay. I did kind of go through my documentation and add in some stuff that was missing. So you see a few commits that are like that. Let's get that here. Added support for the any 7 bet, similar to the any craps. This is a proposition bet, a one roll bet. This says you're going to roll a 7 and not roll something else. Due to the payout, it's not that good of a bet. And if you really want to bet the any 7, you're better off doing 3 individual hot bets on the different combinations that result in a 7, which goes to the next item, add support for hop bets. Those pay out a lot better. They certainly pay out a lot better than the any 7, so if you want the any 7, your best bet is to do some combination of the hop bets instead. Add documentation on the maximum odds. One of my viewers last week noted that the maximum odds was not really documented. And so I added that. Default maximum odds is 100x. I think the reason why I didn't document it is because it's a configurable value, and so whoever is running the bot may decide to change that. But I added the documentation in, and whoever runs the bot can change the documentation, I suppose. We'll something we'll have to think about, what to do about these default configurations. I suppose I could add in a command that's tell me the max odds or something. We'll see. Maybe I'll just make a note here and say how to document maximum odds since it is configurable. Just something to consider, because I feel a little bad having the documentation here, knowing that someone may change the default or change their own configuration, and so having a simple way of people being able to see what the max odds is when it is changed from the default. So I'll have to think about that. In fact, I want to look up the README real fast and make sure that the README doesn't mention the max odds. Yeah, so we have it here, max odds, maximum odds that can be placed, multiple of don't pass, come bets. But there's no indication of default, so this is fine. We just got to figure out what we want to do with this here. Let's see, then next up, I updated the default maximum odds to 100x. I think there were 10x before, and one of my viewers noted that some of the casino sees goes to in Vegas. I'll give them 100x odds. So I was like, well, all right, let's be generous. I'll give people 100x odds, and it doesn't really matter. So we'll go with that. That's what I did. Switch it to 100x odds. And then the last change we made was to use Twitch emotes to make the die roll stand out. So you're seeing that now, where we use the give please and take energy emotes, those Twitch emotes, to highlight messages that are relevant to everyone. So basically the rolls that we're seeing here, as well as when a point is established, the point is made, or we have a 7 out, all those messages are relevant to every player. So I use those emotes to highlight those messages so that people can see it easier. Love to see if that viewer comes back this week and can give feedback on what that looks like. I did experiment with a couple different things, and I found that give energy, take energy seemed to be pretty reasonable. This table keeps running here. I think I have a come bet out there. Let me see what my bets are. Craps bets. Yeah, I have a come bet on the 5. So let's say craps bet come odds 5 for 100. Just so I can make some money on that when I finally hit that 5. In the meantime, let's consider what we have going on next here. So that's everything we did last week. So now we're on to this week, today. We still have a few remaining craps bets I want to add. We have the fire bet, the bottom top all bet. Big 6-8 I'll probably hold off. Horn we can replicate with other bets. World we can replicate with other bets. And so I'm tempted to ignore those for the moment. Of course, they're also pretty simple. I may just go ahead and do those. They're pretty simple bets to do. One that's getting higher on my list is add to incremental balance adjustment. This is so that if a player rolls their whole, or bets their whole balance and loses it all, right now they get their whole balance back immediately. And when we start talking about a leaderboard, I don't want someone to be able to game the system by betting it all, losing, or bet it all on a high risk, high reward bet, and just keep betting it all until they finally hit it, and then they get a huge jump on the leaderboard. And so my thought is by doing an incremental balance adjustment where you get paid back, say 1 unit per minute or something, you're not going to be able to game the leaderboard in quite that fashion. You can still do it, but it'll take a little more time. Then add leaderboard. I'm not going to do a chat-based leaderboard because I think it's going to be too much messaging, but I think display something in the console window. So when we bring up the console window, when I bring up the console window, you can see the leaderboard here would be kind of my thoughts. Allow players to change existing bets. So you can increase, decrease, remove bets by setting the bet again and changing what it is. Hey, I made my point. Of course, now I have no bets, but now we have a point that's going to keep rolling until that point is resolved. And note that some bets cannot be decreased or removed. We cannot decrease the pass when we're on a point. Some bets also cannot be increased. So don't pass, don't come, and the fire after the initial roll, and bottom top all after the initial roll. But it was made. Alright, so we should have no more rolls here, because I think we've resolved everything. We have no point and we have no bets. So yeah, certainly some complexity to allowing players to change existing bets. We'll look at that when we get there. Then we have keep, place, and buy bets around after they win. So this is kind of default casino behavior. The reason why I haven't done this is because if you don't have the ability to change your bets, the only way to change your bet is by placing the bet. And so basically every time you win, we take the bet off, and then you can change it right now by just making a new bet. Once you have the ability to change bets by just placing the bet a second time, as this will allow, then we could keep bets around, keep placing buy bets around, and then if you want to change it or remove it, you have the option to do so. Allow players to serve as the bank. Right now the bank is served by the bot, and there's an infinite source of money behind it. And so when you win, money comes out of the middle of nowhere and is put into your balance. When you lose, the money evaporates. So the thought is, with a bank where money won or lost from betting is going to go to or come from the banker's balance, and the only time that money is going to come from nowhere is from the balance adjustment, either the incremental balance adjustment that I've talked about or the immediate balance adjustment that we have right now. The ability to turn bets on and off. This is kind of different from allowing players to change existing bets. All casinos will allow you to turn certain bets on and off. And you do that without taking the bet off entirely, without removing it entirely. You just temporarily turn it on or off, then turn it on or off again later on. And then once we have the ability to turn those on and off, then we want to automatically turn bets on and off the same way a casino would. Alright, so that's kind of where we're at. I want to review some additional tasks I'm considering here. So I'll bring up the code and just look at things here. So we have these commands that we've built up. Let's bring up our command processor code here. Process command. So we have the roll command, the help command, the balance command, the bets command, and the bet command. Now we set up the bets command so that has a cooldown on it. You can only run that command once per roll. So I was wondering if we want to do something similar for some of these other commands, like maybe the balance command is a possibility, and possibly the help command. Because I don't want people to spam these commands more than are strictly necessary. Balance is probably something we will want to do. We could probably do it similar to the bets, do it once per roll. So let's say limit the balance command to once per roll, similar to bets. What else? Help. Limit the help command to once every X seconds. Maybe 60? I'm not sure. Let's go with 60 for now. 60 seconds. So just a couple of thoughts there. The roll command is well, it's an admin command, and so we don't want to limit we don't want to limit how often the roll command can be used. So yeah, I think those are good. And I think for our bets, add a global cooldown on the help command. Oops, not cooldown, but cool down. Add a global cooldown on the help command to once every. Let's just start with 60 seconds. Actually, we'll just make it configurable. How about that? is they add a configurable global cooldown on the help command. Alright, well, let's take a look. Let's start with limiting the balance command to once per roll and see where that gets us. So to do this, let's just look up the balance command and see what that looks like here. And not the balance command, the bets command is what's currently limited. Yeah, so skip. If the player has already viewed their bets since their last die roll, we have this two-line logic here. If this map includes username, actually it may not be a map, it may just be an array. Let's go look up this. Player shown bets. Yeah, it's just an array. Yeah, so if that array includes username, then we return. Otherwise, we push the username to that array. So we could do a similar two-liner. But it'd be duplicate code, so I think we want to just do a helper function here to help with this here. So let's just add a new function. And what we really need is username. That's all we really need. Let's go grab the code from the bets command. So we need the username, and now we need the cooldown. Cooldown array. So if cooldown array includes username, we want to return trying to think here. What do we want this to be? If we want it to say command cooldown elapsed. So if the cooldown has elapsed, return true. Return true if the user has not run this command since the last roll. So if it includes username, we return false. And then otherwise, we push the username onto that array and return true. So this might be easier if we return true. So let's return false here, return true. Return true if the user has run this command. Cooldown for commands. Each user is allowed to run once per roll. Return true if the User has already run the command. That's lengthy. Go down for commands. Users are allowed to run once per role. Return true if the user has already run the command. I guess that'll work. Still a little lengthy, but I think we can make that work there. Now let's go to the bets function, the bets command function, and go ahead and use this. So skip if the users already viewed their bets since the last die roll. So let's just call in this dot command cooldown username So if this returns true, then we just return. And I think I want to adjust the naming of this variable. We have players shown bets. We could say cooldown bets, or how about command cooldown for bets. There, now I think we can adjust or add in the code for the bounce command. We'll add in a new, actually I think bounce comes first, so let's add balance there. Allow players to use once per roll commands again. Now then we'll just add in this line right before the balance command. Skip if the player has already viewed their balance since last die roll. And we need to change this to balance. Not sure why I have this extra line break here. I think I'll just combine all that together. Alright, well that's a nice simple change there. Let's go ahead and test that and see what that looks like. Alright, so let's try with the craps balance, see if it returns my balance here. Well, let's also test the bets command, just since I did some refactoring there, just to make sure that that command has not been affected negatively. Now let's place a quick bet, say craps bet pass line for 1. Yeah, let's see, I should still not be able to do any of these commands. So if I say craps balance, I get no response. If I say craps bets, I should get no response either. Great, so let's wait for the roll to occur, and we'll see what that does. In the meantime, while we're right on that, I'll take a quick glance at the code. Yeah, so we have renamed the player shown bets array to be command cooldown bets. I've added a new array, command cooldown bounce. And then when a roll occurs, I reset both those arrays to be the empty array. I've added this new command cooldown function, cooldown for commands. Users are allowed to run once per roll. Return true if the user has already run the command. We pass in the username and then the cooldown array. If the cooldown array includes the username, we'll return true. Otherwise, we add the username to the array and return false. And I see the roll has occurred, so let's go take a look and see if these commands work again. So say craps balance. Excellent, so my balance works again. And I've won 1 unit of currency. Let's say craps bets. Excellent, so that's nice and simple. That seems to work pretty well there. So once we made that separate function, it was easy to add that to the balance command, skip if the players already do their balance since the last die roll, and refactored the bets command to turn those 2 lines into a 1-liner. If command cooldown returns true, then we would just return true and skip the rest of the command. Let's move this over. For the commit message, let's drop that explanatory statement. So limit the balance command to once per roll. And I think I'm not allowed to use the exclamation mark in command prompts, so I'm going to have to do this a little bit differently. We'll say git add that, git commit. We'll just use our commit message editor to get around that restriction. Perfect. Alright, up next, add a configurable global cooldown for the help command, or on the help command. Sure, let's take a look. I have our config template. Let's see, say help cooldown. And we'll say 60 seconds there. Cooldown on the help command, and this is going to be in seconds. We'll start with that to see how that goes. Let's also add that to my local configuration. It's different between these 2 files. It's different. We added the example channel name bot owner, but queued pixel is smaller. So that's why the formatting is different between the 2. So I've added the configuration. I think we'll also want to update our documentation. So let's look up the README. Yeah, here it is. So we added in, I forget what I called it, help cooldown. And let's just pull this over here. Global cooldown on the help command, seconds. Oops. Yeah, I think that's good. So that adds the documentation. Finally, there is the code. So we have our kind of timer function that runs here. Let's go see if I can find that real fast. We have set interval, the craps timer that runs every 1,000 milliseconds, so every 1 second. That's probably going to be the place to do this. We have start timer, stop timer, and then here is the craps timer. This is the function that gets run once a second. Okay, so we have, this is built around the roll timer, and all the notes and variables are all built around the roll timer. This is where we roll the dice once a minute if the delay has expired. We only do it if the timer is running. Then we have a timer counter, and so we're going to need to add in like the concept of a roll timer or something. And so let's go look up these variables and just start to rename these variables to indicate that they're more of a roll timer. So let's look for timer running, see who uses that. We have timer running. Let's call this a roll timer running. Roll timer running is true. Roll timer running false. In fact, we'll want to rename these functions as well, but we'll get to that in just a second here. We have if the roll timer is running. If it's not running, we return. And that's it. So then we have the roll, we have the timer counter. Let's rename this to the roll timer counter. Roll timer counter. When we start the timer, we set it to be the config rolling delay. We decrement it. If it's less than or equal to 0, then we do the roll. And that's that. Now let's fix up these two functions here. We have start timer and stop timer. These should be start roll timer. So start roll timer. Just those two spots. And we have stop timer. This should be stop roll timer. Yeah. So we have stop timer here. And that's it. That only shows up in one spot. All right. We're going to break this into two sections here. Actually, what we could do is let's add a new function. We'll call it craps timer. Let's rename this to roll timer. And we will call roll timer here. And now we can add in a new function for like I went kind of nuts. I don't know what I'm adding. Adding configurable global cooldown on the help command. I'm adding a whole bunch of stuff with a timer that I don't think is really relevant. Let me just take a step and think about this, but I kind of went a little crazy there. I think this is still good because what we're going to want is to slowly decrement a global cooldown on that command. So we'll probably want to do is like a cooldown timer or something. So let's go ahead and build that. Let's build in a cooldown timer here. Call it cooldown timer. Recommend global cooldowns. And we'll call this dot cooldown timer. Not sure what we're going to put in there yet. Let's think about this for a second here. Let's go look at our code. We have command cooldown bets, command cooldown balance. We could do like command cooldown help. And we'll initialize that to 0. We'll basically say if the cooldown is at 0, we're allowed to run the command. If it is greater than 0, we need to wait until it hits 0. And now this lets us build our cooldown timer. And say if command cooldown help is greater than 0, then command cooldown help minus. And we need to add this dot in front of these. All right, let's continue to take a look here. So I think we're going to have our help command as the next spot to adjust here. So let's go look for the help command function. It'll be pretty close to the bottom here. All right, I think we're here. Oh yeah, here we go. So we don't even have a help function yet because it's just a one-liner here in this process command. And so since it's now going to get a little more complicated, I think we do want to make a command for it. So we have roll help balance. So we have roll balance. Let's go ahead and add it here. I'm going to paste in that bit I copied in my clipboard earlier just so I have that available. This will be the help command. So if command cooldown is greater than 0, return. Skip if the help command has been run within, or if the help command cooldown has not expired. Since it's configurable, I just want to not say anything about timing here. Skip if the help command cooldown is not expired. So if that's greater than 0, return. Otherwise, let's go grab our message here. This .user message, blah, 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 blah. And then we'll say this command cooldown help is equal to something. I probably wanted to do like a config something. Do we have like a config? Yeah, config dot something. Helps if I spell it correctly, doesn't it? Yeah, we have config dot rolling delay. So we config dot, instead of rolling delay, we called it what? cooldown. Skip if the help command cooldown is not expired. Otherwise, print out the help. Should be simple enough. We need a comma here at the end of that. I think I need to adjust my help processing so that I should call the command I just added. Yeah. So instead of just outputting the message directly, we'll say this.help command. Seeing all these things here, and I'm getting tempted to line them up. It's a little challenging because they don't all have a standard pattern. We have command starts with, command equals equals, command equals equals, command equals equals, command starts with. But the right-hand side is a very similar pattern here. Close. We have we pass in username to all of them, but we pass in command to some of them. Getting a little triggered here, but I think I'll leave it for the moment because I don't see a clean way of cleaning that up just yet. But it's something I'll continue to think about. Alright, well I think we have the cooldown for help working. So I'm going to do a quick configuration with stream elements so I can test this here. Configure my stream elements command to, or my stream elements bot to have a command to use the help command. Their dashboard is kind of hard to find my configurations. Sorry, just getting distracted by all of the commands here. There we go. Alright, so I have my test. Let's go ahead and edit my test command so it does help instead. So that's craps help. So let's try the test and see what that does here. Craps help. And stream elements gets the player guide from the crap spot. Now I've not deployed this change yet, so if I run this myself and say craps help myself, I will get the help message right away as well. And so what we need to do is to set up like a 1-minute timer. I'll probably do that on my phone here, and we'll just see if we're limited to once per minute on this here. So let's go bounce our chatbot, get my phone out, get my timer, my stopwatch set up here. Alright, so I will issue the craps help command, and that will start a 60-second timer here. And now let's have stream elements run their help command. I'll give it about, I don't know, 20 seconds here, 20, 30 seconds, just so we'll make sure we don't have a weird issue with our cooldown. So let's wait about 45 seconds. That'll be enough time to make sure that it's within a minute and I haven't screwed up by like accidentally halving the cooldown or doubling the cooldown or something. Yeah, so it issues the help command, gets nothing. If I type in craps help, I still got nothing. 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. So now if I issue the help command, it should come back. Excellent. So yeah, the cooldown on that seems to be about 60 seconds. Probably going to be a little hard to test that precisely, but I don't really need to. It just has to be about 60 seconds. We verified that 45 seconds in, it wouldn't let the duplicate go out. We verified about a minute and 5 or 10 seconds that did allow the command to go out again. So I think that works. And now that it's configurable, if 60 is too short or too long, we can always change that. So let's go ahead and look at the code. We've changed 3 files now. We've changed craps table. So we've added the cooldown command help. It starts at 0. So if you're at 0, where you're allowed to run the command. And then when you do run the command, we can go look at that down below. We set it to config help cooldown, which we've configured to 60 seconds. So as we now have a couple of different timers running now, I've renamed my timer variables. We had timer running and timer counter. I've renamed those to roll timer running and roll timer counter. We also had start timer that I've renamed to start roll timer, and stop timer I've renamed to stop roll timer. We had the roll timer function, or sorry, we've had the craps timer function, which I renamed to roll timer, and did all the other renaming as well. And then I added a new function, the cooldown timer. And then craps timer, the function that gets called once a minute, now calls these other 2 functions independently, the roll timer and the cooldown timer. And so if and when I add additional timers, we'll just add those new calls to the craps timer function. We'll hopefully minimize the number of subsequent changes. More renames. We renamed stop timer to stop roll timer, start timer to start roll timer. Help, the help command, we used to send out the message directly. We now call the help command function. So this way we can skip the command if the help command cooldown has not expired. If it's greater than 0, return. If it has expired, we output the message and we reset the cooldown. And finally we did the reset the rename for the start timer there. That's for making a bet. We added help cooldown to our configuration template. We also added it to our local config file, but that does not get committed. So you only see the template get changed here. And we updated the README file. Global cooldown on the help command. Let's see, I just want to double check the documentation here, because I didn't actually use an exclamation point on this, and I think I want to. I just want to see if anyone else has done, if I've done the exclamation and any other command references here. Looks like I don't have any other command references. Okay, yeah, so I've actually put the command in kind of a special README formatting. Let's see here. Let's go take a look and see what that looks like in our documentation here. Global cooldown on the craps help command. And then I want to put that in our config template. I don't know. Because here we have the difference in formatting between README files and JavaScript code. In JavaScript code, this type of formatting here really does nothing. And so what would I do instead? Would I do traditional stuff like that, traditional quotes? I don't know, I think I kind of liked it the way it was. We'll just call it the help command. We don't have to highlight it specifically like that. If we look at our player guide, we do highlight commands here more specifically, but this is really for players. Players need to know, what are we typing? What's the exact command I need to type? What's the formatting of the command? Now we do have the help command highlighted here. But I think it's not as relevant to do that same formatting here, especially because the formatting just doesn't work at all in the JavaScript comments. So I've had the README notes reflect the JavaScript comments, and I think I'm going to continue to do that. Keep it nice and simple, leave the more elaborate formatting for the player guide. That's kind of my thought there. All right. So let's continue to take a look. We've added help cooldown to our config template. We've added help cooldown to our README, and I think that's it. Let's go ahead, craft a commit message. I think this is probably it. Add a configurable global cooldown on the help command. Oh yeah, here we have a small issue where we did this commit like that, and that's not quite accurate. It'd be more like that if we wanted to go like that, or we could go like that and just get rid of the exclamation point altogether. Let's just look up our git log and see what I've done for other style commands, if anything. I haven't done too many command changes lately. Yeah, so here we did the roll command in quotes. And here we do the same thing. We replace balance with help in the example craps command. Oh, here. Well, here we have, so here we use that, but that is correct there because the exclamation does go in front of the craps command. And here we did help here, so this is incorrect. So I'm not quite consistent, but I think I like doing the command name in quotes. I think that's more appropriate. Here we have the hello command, but this is back when we're still working on hello world, and so this is going to be close to the very beginning, and that's not really going to be relevant. So yeah, I think updating this to say limit the balance command to once per roll, then add a configurable global cooldown on the help command. I think this is what I'll do for that. So we have git status. I don't want to amend. I want to do anything with this yet. Let's just do a git commit -- amend. There is the new message. We'll delete the old message. Let's do a quick git status. Make sure that everything's still correct here. Excellent. And you note that I have not pushed my last commit yet. Some of the reason for not pushing those commits right away to GitHub is so when I do notice a mistake or a change I'd like to make in a git commit log, I can do that. Once I push it to GitHub, I can still do it, but I have to do it via a force commit, or sorry, a force push. And anyone who has cloned my repository and is working on it locally, they're going to have a issue when they do their pull next time. They won't be able to do a straight up pull. They'll need to clean up the mess I create on their end. And so I really prefer not to do a force push unless I have no other choice. In fact, you will probably note I have an old commit in here a little while ago where I screwed up a commit message, but it was after I had already pushed. Yeah, so I have two commit messages, add support for the buy bet, add support for the buy bet. The first one is correct, the second one is the lay bet. But I'd already pushed, and I didn't want to edit the commit message and do a forced push, just so I wouldn't screw up anyone who has cloned my repository. Which I don't know if anyone has, but it's just kind of a general nicety. It does lead to those issues. Alright, so where we're at, we've been working on this global cooldown on the help command. And I think we're all ready to commit. I think I have my commit message ready to go. Add a configurable global cooldown on the help command. Since I have quotes in my commit message, I will use the commit message editor. Now this did include some documentation changes, so I do want to push this right away so I can verify those changes show up and look correct. Now this is part of our main README, so I'll just refresh this and see what it looks like here. We've added help cooldown, global cooldown on the help command in seconds. Looks good. So also if I wanted to, I could put these command names in quotes, similar to what I've done for the commit messages. Now let's go ahead and do that. Let's be consistent there. That will work. So we've got our guide. That doesn't need to change. Let's go to our README and say global cooldown on the help command, just to highlight that that's a command and not a word that's relevant in that sentence. We'll do that here. So help in quotes, config template, we'll do it in the config template as well. So it should be pretty simple. I don't think I really need to test this because I just added quotes in comments and in the README file. So add quotes. I'm referencing the help command. Just say in comments and in the README, but that's a lot of text. So we'll just say this: add quotes when referencing the help command. And commit that with my editor. I'll go ahead and push that right away as well so I can review that change. There you go. Global cooldown on the help command in seconds. See, I think that's preferable because it does highlight it a little bit. It doesn't have to be quite as distinct as what we do in our player guide, where we highlight bets using this, highlight commands using this formatting. Particularly because that won't show up in the comments in the JavaScript file, but I think the double quotes do work in this context, so we'll go with that. Alright, what's next? Add remaining craps bets. Yeah, so we're getting to some interesting bets here. We have the fire bet is next. And let's just start thinking about the fire bet. What does the fire bet do? If my memory serves, it's basically a bet that is dependent upon the number of points you hit. And I think the best payout is if you hit all 6 points. But there's, I think there's also a payout if you hit 5 of 6 points. I think there's no payout for 4. So let's see if fire shows up here. It does not. So this is one of those more elaborate bets that this guide does not reference. They might have to go to a more advanced section that talks about it. Their website is driving me crazy here. So you view all. We have craps here. structured games. We could try craps. We have craps for beginners. Oh, well, this is taking me somewhere else. Wizard of Vegas. This must have been an ad. I really hate when you click view more and it just scrolls your window down. Like, yeah, if I if I wanted to see more, I would have already scrolled down. Let's see. View all. So if craps shows up multiple times here, we have craps once, craps again. Craps basics. Games craps. Interesting. So we have two links here. So we have games craps. And what was the next one? Craps basics. Ah, so this is where I was. Is there any other craps links here? We have card craps. Card craps. Craps, what is this? Looks like the index here. There's the games craps, and I think we've been here. And craps again. Ah, so those are the two links. We have craps and craps basics. I could swear there was a more elaborate article I saw. Craps FAQ. Let's see if fire shows up on this page. No. Well, I could swear I found an article on Wizard of Oz that talked about the fire bet, but I'm not able to find it. So let's just fire up Google, say craps fire bet, and see if somebody is willing to talk about fire bet here. So we have craps fire bet explained. So it's a special craps side bet the players can make over a multi-roll period. The payouts are enormous, and not all casinos will allow this kind of bet since this one is kind of advanced and is usually used by professionals and experienced players. Oh, I doubt it's used by professionals and experienced players. It's a sucker bet. It's used by people new to the game who like the shiny payouts, the 1,000-to-1 payouts. But I think most professionals and experienced players avoid it. Rules have the shooter go on a hot streak. Players may wager a single chip when the casino allows this bet to be placed. First, the shooter must consecutively roll a number of different points. After each point has been rolled, the dealer will put a fire marker on that number. Remember, there are only 6 possible point numbers, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. If 3 of these numbers became established as point numbers and the dealer rolled and completed, it's not the dealer, it's the shooter. And the shooter rolled and completed those points. There would be 3 markers on each number. Well, there would be 1 marker each on each of those numbers. Once the 4th point has been made, the player will win 24-to-1 odds. Of the 5th point, then the player payout increases to 49-to-1. Oh, this is 4. This is 24 for 1 to 50 for 1, or 24 for 1. I'll remind myself what these payouts mean here. So this means you win $1,000 on a single $1 bet. If you wagered $100, you could actually win $100,000. A few things to note: the shooter must clear the point on each of all 6 individual numbers. If the shooter kept establishing and making the point on the number 4, even for 10 times in a row, that will only count as 1 point number. Also, if the shooter rolls a 7, everyone loses the fire bets. Well, if the shooter rolls a... Well, not everyone loses. If the shooter rolls a 7 and you've established 4 points, you get paid. This article is kind of crappy. It doesn't... It's not really clear. I think I understand what's going on here, but the article is not really all that good. Let's see if there's a better article here. Crap side bets. Oh, here's from Wizard of Odds. Why didn't I see that going through their side page? Alright, so the following table shows two different pay tables I've heard of. Pay tables A and C were converted from a 4-1 to a 2-1 basis. The probabilities are exact. C, 629, 149, 299. From a 4-1 to a 2-1 basis. So this used to be paid 25 for 1, but it's 24 for 1. Let's look at the payouts here. The overall payouts, we have a return of negative 0.2, 0.24, 0.207, 207,628, 207,295. Looks like pay table A is actually the best. Probably because it goes to the 24 to 1 for the 4 points made. The probability of hitting all 6 is so remote that, yeah, they pay 2,000 to 1 there, but big whoop, the odds of hitting that is so low. The real killer is they drop the 4 points made down to 10, which is going to be the most likely payout. Well, other than -1. -1 is obviously going to be the most likely payout, but the most likely payout that actually gets hit, that actually results in the player getting paid, is the 4 points. Of course, the other option is this one, where we actually go down all the way to 3 points. You get paid 6 to 1 for 3 points, and 29 to 1 for 4 points, 149 for 5 points. So both C and A are equal in terms of overall return. Actually, no, they're slightly different. We have 207,295, 207,628. So I think technically the first one is slightly better. And based on what my Google search has shown, the first one looks more typical for payout. So this is what most people will recognize. And so this is probably what I'm going to do here, is start with this. Alright, so this will be a little complicated because we need to, as we always do, add in support for the bet. Then we need to track all of the points that have been made throughout a series of rolls. And then when we finally 7 out, we need to compute who gets paid. And so let's start with the basics. First, let's make sure I've already committed and pushed. Alright, so I've got a nice clean workspace. Let's start as we always do. First, let's clear out my files here. Let's start as we always do and add in the array or the map for our new bet. So we have our bets that go straight into a map, and then we have our array bets. And so I think I'm just going to add it right here. We will call this the fire bets new map. And let's just scroll through the code and look for places where we refer to all of our bets and add reference to the fire bet. There's going to be things like the well, there's initialization, which we don't have to deal with because we've already initialized the fire bets up here. So it's already initialized. We don't need to add anything to our initialization section. There's our timer functions, your cooldown timer, process random roll, die roll. We're going to skip over the roll handling stuff. That's going to be more complicated. We're going to do that once we get the bet infrastructure in place. All right, get available balance. This is the first place. So this is going to be fire bets. This dot fire bets. Then I bet the next spot is going to be the bets exist function. Yeah, we're just going to skip over all of the bet result handling here. These functions are growing pretty substantially as I add more and more and more bets. Process field bets, process hard number, process hard bets, process hop bets, process roll. And here we have our bets exist function. So this is where we're going to add in the fire bets here. Fire bets. The fire bet size is greater than 0. We still have a bets to process. Alright, now we have our process command, and the next spot is going to be, I think, the bets command. Where we need to add in a new section here, yeah. Just say fire. Pass in this fire bets. And now we have the bet command, so let's go add in the fire bet here. It starts with fire. We're going to say, let's see, I think we could just pass in handle bet. In fact, yeah, we've got handle bet, and we'll say fire. We'll pass in fire bets. We don't have a check function yet, so we're going to leave that blank. But we will need a check function because there's some more elaborate checks that need to go into the fire bet. Specifically, you can only place the fire bet at the very first roll of a series. And so once the shooter starts rolling, once the shooter starts shooting, you can't place the bet. Now, it could perhaps be a little more generous and say you can't place the fire bet until you can only place a fire bet until you've established a point. Once you've established your first point of the series, then we're not allowed to do the fire bet. That might be the more generous approach. So let's just add that note here. Say, cannot establish the fire bet after the first point is established. That's going to be the check we have to make. And we won't really be able to check that until we have more of the bet payout infrastructure in place. So this is something I'm going to ignore for now, and once we code up the bet payouts, we will be able to look at this and fix that. All right, well, we have enough in place to at least be able to place the bet. Let's go bounce our chatbot and see if we can place the bet to make sure that all that basic stuff works here. We have craps bet fire. That should complain that I must specify an amount. So say craps bet fire kappa. And then we'll parse amount, because kappa is not an amount, that's an emote. Craps bet fire 0. Bet is too small. Craps bet fire 10,000. That's more than 10,000. Bet exceeds our available balance of 4,042.93. Let's say craps bet fire 1. If I say craps bets, say I have the fire bet for 1 unit. As if I say craps balance, I say my balance is 4249, my available balance is 4248. So everything's in place to allow us to place the bet. We've got all that infrastructure in place that simplifies a lot of that. What we don't have is the ability to pay that out. So let's start thinking through the logic for paying out the fire bet. So what we need is to track the fire points. The fire points. This is going to be a sparse array. Let's initialize the arrays here. Say this dot fire points sub I is equal to false. And we'll just do that separately because it's weird. It's its own thing. I don't want to line that up because it's not really relevant with anything else there. So basically we're saying until you hit each point, we're going to set each index of this array to false. Once you hit each individual point, we'll set that to true. And then the number of points that are hit will determine the payout. So that's step 1. And actually, now that this exists, we can potentially add in... let's go add in the logic here. Let's think this through here. Let's actually do a quick test. So we should not be able to place this bet once we have a point. So we can place it right now. We've already tested that. Let's go establish a point. Say craps roll 2-2. We've established a point of 4. Now at this point we should not be able to say craps bet fire 1 because we already have a point. So we should not be able to place that bet, but we just were able to do. Let's go fix that as the first pass here. That should be a pretty simple thing to fix. There's going to be like a point check function, pass odds check. I think we already have a way of doing this. It's actually going to be like an opposite point check. Like we can't place the bet once we have a point. I think that'll be on the don't pass, D pass. We have a don't pass check. What does the don't pass check look like? We cannot bet don't pass when a point is set. Sure, let's copy and paste this guy, because this will be relevant for our purposes here. So let's call this fire check. You cannot bet fire when a point is set. And now let's add in fire check to our bet handling call here. Rather than undefined, we'll pass in this dot fire check. And so now that should prevent us from being able to make that bet when a point is set. So let's go do the same thing. We'll say craps roll to establish a point. And I'll say craps bet fire for 1 unit. And we have crash burn. Alright, what happened here? User message is not a function in line 1122. Yeah, I need to do a bind on this. I forgot about that step. Since it's being called in a weird context, I do need to bind it to the this object so that we have access to things like user message. Let's try that one more time. So again, we will establish a point of 4. We'll say craps roll to. Then we'll say craps bet fire for 1 unit. You cannot bet fire when a point is set. Alright, so that much works. Now let's go ahead and resolve this bet. Say craps, or this point. Say craps roll to hit our point again. And so we don't have our point, but we've hit 1 point, and so we should still not be able to place the fire bet, but we haven't built that yet. So we say, okay, craps bet fire for 1. We should not be allowed to make that bet, but we are, because we haven't coded that up yet. That's the next thing to fix. So let's go grab in. Let's just find a iterator that goes over these things here. Sort of a quick check for a for loop where I go over the 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 indices. Here we go. This will work. See, we should have fire check. Alright, iterate over fire points array, indices 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. So I is equal to 4, I is less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. If I is not equal to 7, we could say if this dot fire points sub I is true, then we have made that point. So if that's true, then we need to do this. We cannot bet fire. that a point has been made. How about once a point has been made. Sure, it should be simple enough. However, we're not quite done because we don't actually ever set fire points to true. So let's go look for the code where we do that, or we should do that. This will be part of our role handling function. Goes up a little bit here. Roll command, nope, still a little bit farther up. Now, so here we have process roll, die 1, die 2. Print out the roll. Process number bits. If we have no point, no, we have a point, so we have to do it when we have a point and we said, okay, the point has been made. So say this dot far points sub die total is equal to true. So now I think our logic is in place. If we set a point of 4 and then we hit the 4 and then we try to bet this when we don't have a point, we should be able to. We should not be able to do that. So let's give that a test here. Just going to test each individual step of this process. So let's set a point of 4. Perhaps roll 2 to set a point of 4. Should still not be able to bet the fire bet. We'll just test that. Craps bet fire for 1. You cannot bet fire when a point is set. Now let's say craps roll 2 to make the point. So now we don't have a point set. Let's go ahead and roll our 4. Let's see, what actually bet our fire bet now. So let's craps bet fire 1. You cannot bet fire once a point has been made. So that does work. Of course, we have a little bit of complexity here. In that if there were no fire bets, there's really no reason to track any of this. Well, let's test something else. So there's that. So that much is working so far. There's another bit of complexity I need to think about, but let's test something else here. So we've already tested that. So if I say craps roll 2 to establish a point of 4, I can't bet fire here. So craps bet fire 1 is going to say you can't make the fire bet when a point is set. So resolve the roll. Craps roll 2 we hit our point of 4. And I still can't make my fire bet because we have a point made. So craps bet fire 1. That's what we just set up and just tested. And so now to clear that, we need a 7 out. So we say craps roll 2 get another point of 4. Craps roll 3 to 7 out. And then we should now be able to bet the fire bet. But that's not going to work because we don't have the logic to clear out the fire bet points. So let's go look at the code to do that. So we already have an initialization step here. Just going to steal our code from fire check. And I think I want to do like a reset fire points function. Not sure where to put it. let's do it here. We'll say reset fire points. And we'll say this dot fire points is equal to false. And so what I'll do is I'll drop this guy. Let's add in this dot reset fire points. And now let's add this call, where else we need to reset it. We need to do this when we have a 7 out. So let's go look for the 7 out. That's going to be as part of our role handling function. A little bit down here. Just above here. Alright, so if we've 7'd out, do that there. We can reset the fire points here. And so that should solve our current issue. So now the test is to, let's just run through it. Let's just test it and see if this works here. So we'll say craps roll 2-2, establish a point of 4. Make sure we can't make the fire bet when we have a point, so craps bet fire for 1 should still fail because we have a point established. You cannot bet fire when a point is set, so let's now say craps roll 2-2, so we no longer have the point set, but we have made that point. So now let's say craps bet fire for 1, and it should complain and say you cannot bet fire once a point has been made. Alright, so let's now do a new point. So craps roll 2-2. Let's just try fire bet again here. Craps bet fire for 1. It should be the new message. You cannot bet fire once a point has been made. Yeah, because we checked that first. Now it's 7 out. So craps roll 3-4. Craps bet fire for 1. Excellent. Yeah, so now after a 7 out, we clear out the fire points array, set it all to false, and now we're able to place the bet again. Now, the only thing I was thinking of earlier that I paused to think about for a second, let's set up this scenario again. We'll reset our chat bot. So we have let's set a point of 4. So craps roll 2-2 to establish a point of 4. We can't bet the fire bet now. We've already tested that. And then we can say craps roll 2-2. The point was made. And so the question is, right now we're not able to place the fire bet. If we say craps bet fire of 1, we're not able to place the fire bet. But is there any reason why we shouldn't be allowed to place that? Now, I know nobody else has bet the fire bet, so we shouldn't be tracking the fire points at this point. And so it's like, why not? Why would we not let anyone do that? And so there's a couple things I could think of. We have this logic here. We have if bets exist and point is 0, we reset everything. And we could add another reset fire points here. That's one approach, and we could basically add in this here would probably do it. It's not perfect because we might have some bets that don't affect fire that are still around. I'm not sure what those would look like. Like we might have, we might have a come bet still around. And so I don't think this is the cleanest approach. What I think might be a better approach is to look at this guy and only do this, only set that array to true if we have a fire bet. So let's go look at that real fast. I think we could do this. We could say if fire bet size, blah, blah, blah. Let's try this. So if fire bet size is greater than 0, then let's do this. Update fire bet points. Update fire points. If fire bets exist. Update fire points if fire bets exist. So if we don't have any fire bets, then we won't update that array. And so then somebody else could bet fire down the road. So let's try this and see what this does for us. Let's stop our bot if we haven't already. And try again. So let's establish a point of 4. Craps roll 2, establish a point of 4. Okay, craps bet fire 1. We should still not be able to bet the fire bet here. Let's hit the point of 4. So craps roll 2, 2. And now since nobody bet the fire bet, we should not be tracking fire points, and we should be able to do a craps bet fire at this point. Craps bet fire 1 at this point. Yeah, so that does work. And of course, this does lead to something else to test, which is to make sure that when a fire bet does exist, we're not able to make it at that time. So let me go update my stream elements test function. To have it do a fire bet here so we can test that here. So we'll say craps bet fire 1. There's our new test function, a new test command. Rerun our bot, give this a try. So let's do test from stream elements. It bets fire bet for 1. Now let's establish a point of 4. I should not be able to bet a fire bet at this time if I say craps bet fire for 1. I should say you cannot bet fire when a point is set. So that does work. And now let's see, I do want to hit the point of 4, so let's go ahead and hit the point of 4, craps roll 2, 2. And now if I try to bet fire, craps bet fire for 1, I should not be able to set it because the a point has been made, and we track that because of stream elements bet. Stream elements fire bet, so that does seem to be working. Alright, so that logic does seem to work. We cannot establish the fire bet after the first point is established, so that logic is done. Next up is payouts. See, I wonder when the fire bet gets paid. Because I'm thinking through the logic here. Normally, I was thinking we would do the payout when we 7 out. This would be where we're going to check how many points were made. If you look at the article I was reading earlier, if you make 4 points, you get paid 24 to 1. If you make 5 points, 249 to 1. 6 points, 999 to 1. And so you won't know if you've made 4 or 5 points until you get the 7 out. Once you get the 7 out, you'll look back and see how many points you've made. But once you've hit that 6th point, you could do the payout right away. You don't have to wait for a 7 out at that point because they can't make any more points. It can't get better and it can't get worse. And so we could just do the payout. We could just say, all right, here's your 999 to 1 payout. And conceivably allow them to establish a second fire bet. So let's just do a quick Google search here. When does the craps fire bet get paid? So here's this 888 casino. This might be an online casino thing, or we'll see if this is a better article than the last one I was reading. The last article wasn't so great. What is the craps fire bet? Make 4 different points. Yeah, website's bugging me. Now to play it, you begin on the come out roll by putting your chips or chips in the layout to tell them whether you want the fire bet. Come out wins on 7 or 11. While come out losses of 2, 3, or 12 do not affect the fire bet effect as long as there are these are the results. You may take your bet down. Once the shooter establishes his first point, the fire bet must remain in action until it wins or loses. So I think that matches what we've done so far. If the shooter makes a point, the dealer puts his fire disc on that number, and then moves on to another comeout. If the shooter makes a different point, and makes it, the dealer puts the fire disc on that number too. Follow the procedure if the shooter makes additional points. Anytime the shooter makes a point, he has already made no additional fire disc is placed in the layout. This are added only after points are made for the first time in the fire sequence. If the shooter summons out with 0, 1, 2, or 3 fire discs covering made points, you lose a fire bet. If the shooter summons out with 4 or 5 discs on the layout, or if he makes all 6 points without 7ing out, then you're paid according to the play table. The pay table. So here, it looks like you get paid immediately. So once you make that 6th point, you get paid immediately and don't have to wait for the shooter to 7 out. And so I would say, if that does happen, if you hit all 6, you get paid immediately, and we clear out the fire bets, clear out the fire bet points, and you're allowed to make the fire bet again, would be my thought there. So I think let's start working on the payout process. Before I hop into that, I just need to step away for a few minutes, take a quick break here. So I'm going to put up my my break screen. I'll take a quick 5-minute break, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Alright, I am back. Thank you for your patience. Just had to step away for a couple minutes there. So we were looking at this article talking about how the fire bit gets paid. So you 7 out, if you have 4 or 5 discs on the layout when you 7 out, you get paid. If you make all 6 points without 7ing out, then you're paid as well. Here's the common payouts that we've talked about, 24 for 1, or 24 to 1 on all 4 numbers, or on 4 numbers, 249 to 1 on 5 numbers, and 999 to 1 on, well, 6 numbers. They had a typo there. It should be 6, not 5. It's common for casinos to list the fire bet at odds 4-1 so they can display a nice even 1,000 unit payoff for 6 numbers made. 1,004-1 payoff is the same as 999-1. If you bet $1 and the shooter makes 6 numbers, you get your $1 back and collect 999 in winnings for a total of 1,000. And there's all these odds they talk about here, and not too worried about that. I'm just kind of worried about the technical process for how and when you get paid and what the amounts are. Alright, so let's take a look here. So if the point was made, well, we need to check the number of fire points that are made once a point is made to see if we've won it on the 7. So, where can we do this? This is line 615, so I think we have to steal the init and go to line 615 here. Over fire points array, indices 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Let's say if fire point sub I is true, iterate over fire points array, count up fire points, by iterating over fire points array, indices 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Let's say var fire point count is equal to 0. If that's true, then we'll say fire point count plus plus. Payout fire bet if all 6 fire points are made. So if fire point count is 6. I can do process bets. Actually, let's grab. I think we wanted a bet 1 multiplier. We'll say this. Process bet is going to be fire bets. Fire bets. This bet 1 multiplier bind. We're going to bind in the multiplier of 999. This is small enough, I could probably do this in one line. Nope, not quite. It's just a little too long. Let's reverse this statement here. If fire bets exist, comma, update fire points. Alright, so we've paid out those bets. That'll clear out the bets. What we need to do now is reset the fire points. So we have a line of code that does that. We'll just grab that here. And so with these two lines, this clears out the bets and clears out the fire points. And now if somebody wanted to, they could make the fire bet immediately again. One would hope if somebody hits all 6 points on the fire bet, they take their winnings and walk away and count their blessings. That would be so rare to be able to hit that. Alright, so that is to pay out if all 6 are made. The next is if we 7 out. And now we need to count up. We need to count up the points again, the fire points again. And I think at this point, it would make sense to move this into a function. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go build a function for that. Let's say, let's put this here for the moment. Let's count fire points. Get. Let's just go fire point count. Ah, I can type, honest. And return fire point count. I'm not sure if I can have a variable that is the same name as the function. I probably can, but it's a little confusing. Let's rename this to result. And now I think we can go back to the original comment. Iterate over fire points arrays. The index is 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Nah, let's keep it. Let's keep it the way it was. Count of fire points by iterating over fire points array. Indexes 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. I think that was a nice comment. Alright, now we can go down to here and simplify this. We could say if this dot fire point count is equal to 6, then we can drop this. And now we're going to think about what to do on a 7 out. Before we reset the fire points, we want to get the fire point count. Let's just grab this for the moment. Say var fire point count is equal to this fire point count. If fire point count is less than 4, you've lost. So let's just do a lose, process bets. This will be fire bets. This bet lost. So anything less than 4, you've lost. If it equals 4, congratulations, you've won. Let's go grab the multiplier. See if I can fit this into one line here. Maybe. Probably not, though. Not. It's just too much. else. Let's drop this for the moment. If fire point is 4, we pay out what? What does that look like again? $24 to 1 on 4 members made. So let's say 24 as a multiplier. 24 there. Else the fire point is 5. We pay out, what, 249 to 1? 249 to 1. Else, oops. Else you've lost. You just lost the bet. So, process fire bets. At the very end of all this, we reset fire bets. So I'm just pausing to confirm for myself that we will never have a fire point count of 6 here. Because I just want to make sure that there's no way we'll get 6 points hit and not pay out here. So here we have, if the point was made, we update the fire points, we set that point to true. If the count is 6, then we pay out and reset everything. And so we should be fine, because we'll hit 6 here, and then we'll reset before we ever have a chance to 7 out. Once we 7 out, our results are only going to be 1, 2, 3, actually it could be 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll never have as many as 6 fire points here. So I think that much is working. We'll reset the fire points on every 7 out. So yeah, let's just do some quick tests. Make sure we lose when we're supposed to and win when we're supposed to, and we'll double check all the payouts. It'll be a pretty lengthy test here, so I appreciate your patience while I run through all this stuff. The fire bet is just one of those. It's a little tricky to test. So let's actually, one of the things that might help here, let's stop this again. It might help if we actually list the number of fire points when we make each bet, or when we make each point, so we have this message, the point was made. It'd be nice if we had a message, if there are any fire bets, to basically say, you know, hey, you know, we have that. So let's do this. Let's see here. Well, let's add a special message here. Let's say trying to think through. I want a special message when the fire bet is made to indicate, hey, we've made all 6 points. Yeah, we could do a message here. I'm thinking of something like this. Fire points X. And I suppose we could go if, let's see here, let's grab this, fire point count. Oops, let's do it here, fire point count. Replace this. Now, so let's grab this. So if fire point count is equal to 6, we could say all 6, oops, not size, but 6, all 6 fire points made. Let's do that after that message. We could say else if fire point count is greater than 0, then we grab this, fire points X. This will be plus fire point count, plus that. I think that'll be useful for testing purposes so I can see it count up as I go through the test. And I think it'll be useful for people playing as well to actually see those fire points and get more excitement as you get more and more and more and more. Actually, what I think I might want to do is let's make this a little more elaborate, actually. So let's say var far point display is equal to empty string. Let's grab this, put this in here. What I want to do is grab those fire points. I was looking for the fire check here. So if fire point sub I exists, then let's do this. If fire points display, I need to do like string length here. JavaScript string length. So it's dot length, alright, if dot length is greater than 0, and fire point display, oh come on, plus equals comma space, and we'll say fire point display plus equals I guess I. So this will show you each point that's been made. So if you hit all 6, we'll say all 6 fire points made, congratulations, and maybe we'll find a special Twitch emote to celebrate that. Otherwise, we just put out the exact points that were made. you which numbers have been made. Rather than a count, we'll just print out the numbers. Print out. Or display which fire points have been made. Yeah, I think that looks good. So fire point count is 6, we have the special message. Otherwise, if it's greater than 0, we set our fire point display to empty string. We iterate over all of our fire points again for each one that exists. We add that to our display. If we already have one, we add a comma, space, and then the new one. So that should work. Let's give that a try. Let's begin to test our stuff, and we'll see how that looks when we begin to test our code here. So I don't have any syntax errors. Alright, so first, let's make a fire bet. So craps bet fire for 1. Now let's say craps roll 2 to establish a point of 4. Now let's go ahead and 7 up right away so we can verify that we lose our bet when we have no points. So craps roll 3, 4. And I lost my $1, my 1 unit of currency there. Alright, so let's try the same thing. Let's say craps bet fire for 1. I'll say craps roll 2 to establish a point of 4. Now let's hit that. So craps roll 2 again to hit that. So you see the point was made. Fire points 4, so we've hit the 4. Just looking at that formatting, see if that formatting looks good. I think that looks okay. So now let's establish a new point. Let's go to a point of 10. So craps roll 5 to establish a point of 10. Now let's go ahead and hit that. Say craps roll 5 to hit it. Fire points 4, 10. Excellent. So craps roll 2, 3. Then let's hit that as well. So now we have 4, 5, 10. So we have 3 fire points made. Now, let's go ahead and let's roll again. Let's 7 out this time and make sure that we still lose with 4 points or 3 points made. So craps roll, it doesn't really matter, 3, 3. And craps roll 3, 4 to force a 7 out. I lost my $1 on that fire bet. I kind of want to have an output there. Let's try this again. Let's I just want to think through something here. Let's try a loser again. Let's do craps bet fire for 1. Get that going. And say Well, let's hit that. So craps roll 2-2. Craps roll 2-2. So we'll hit that. Now let's add in a pass bet. So craps bet pass for 5. It doesn't really matter. Now say craps roll 5-5 to establish a point of 10. Now say craps roll 3-4 to have a 7 out. So I just want to see if the order of all this makes sense here. So we have a point of 10. Roll 3-4, 7 out. I lost $6. So I lost my fire bet and I lost my my other thing. Actually, that's not really what I wanted to test. Let's try this again. Craps bet fire for 1. Craps roll 2. Let's try something else. Let's establish a point of 8 just to see if things work. Then craps roll 4-4. And actually, I do want to test this. Let's say craps bet pass for 1. And then craps roll 4-4. So I want to see the order of messages here. So we have our roll message, the point was made, fire points 8, and then $1. So let's just look at the logic here. The process was made, the point was made, we process all of our bets, then we output this stuff. So let's go look at 7 out. I think this all makes sense. I just wanted to make sure that all this stuff is grouped up properly, and it looks like... No. Oh, right, because we process all of the bet messages at the very end, and it's going to continue to roll, and that might screw things up, but I'll let that go while I continue to think about this. Yeah, so here we have show bet results. So it doesn't matter what order I do process bets and the messages, because all the messages will appear first. All these specific messages will appear first. Then the bet results, what you've won and lost, will all appear at the end. So just kind of thinking through, does it matter what order I do these things in? And no, it doesn't, is ultimately what happens here. I was thinking through the 7 out here and how we process bets and process more bets, and then we have the 7 out. Because what I want to do is output at the very end here, if we had any fire points, how many fire points we made. I'm going to stop the bot here because it's going to just keep running and distracting us, or at least distracting me here. So let's see here. Could do like another function here, get fire point display. Or display fire points. Let's try that. So let's make a new function for display fire points. Display fire points. Let's pass in fire. Let's see here. No, let's not do that. Let's grab... So does this matter? Yeah, it does matter. So let's go ahead and grab... this guy. When I think about order of operations when I call this function, because this function requires the fire point count to exist and requires all of those points to still be set. So I just have to be careful here and think this through. So here it works. And this dot display fire points works just fine here. Do that. So let's double check that. I think if it's 0, we do nothing. Yeah, if it's 6, we display something. If it's greater than 0, we do something. So if it is 0, we do nothing. So that works. So if there's no fire bets, we won't display anything about fire points. So that's good. So when could we display fire points on a 7 out? So we have the point was made, display fire points. We could do it first. We could display fire points first, and that will happen before we do the reset. In fact, we could do this here. Let's just do it like this. So display fire points, reset fire points, and process the bets. And then display the 7 out. That might work. Let's go see what that looks like. Alright, so we want a... we need a 7 out, and we probably need like a... I don't think it matters. I think we could just do a fire bet and do a 7 out. And we'll see. We do need to have at least 1 point made, so let's do a craps bet fire for 1. Let's establish a point of 9. I don't think we've tested 9 yet. Roll 4, 5. Craps roll 5, 4. Now craps roll 2, 2. Now craps roll 3, 4. So we should lose our money. We should see fire points made 9, and then we should see 7 out. I'm not sure if I'd like that, because I think what I want to see is trying to think this through. So we have fire points. Let's just see here. If fire point count is greater than 0. I'll display a message. Say only fire point count plus fire points made. Just trying to differentiate between the actual points, the fire points colon and then the actual points that were made versus a count. So this is a count. So let's try that as an alternative and see if we like how that looks. So as before, let's bet a fire bet. So craps bet fire for 1. And craps roll 2, 3 to hit the 5 here. Then let's hit the 5 again. And craps roll 2, 2 to establish a new point. Craps roll 3, 4 to establish to 7 out at this point. So we have point established 4. I see point was made. Fire points 5. We've duplicated that this message a little bit. We have this fire points colon 5, and then we have only 1 fire points made. Let's drop this. We have this, I do like having the plural form be correct, so let's just think this through here. So we have a plus. So if fire point count is greater than 1, we'll do S, otherwise we'll do nothing. Of course, there's a big old mess of stuff here. That isn't. Well, first, it's big enough we need to do this. Do that there. Line wrap this. I think that'll work. So give please only X fire point that is greater than 1 points, otherwise point. Only 1 fire point made or only 2 fire points made. I think that'll work. So let's give that a try. So let's establish a point again. Craps roll, go 2-2, my ever popular 2-2. Then, oh, I forgot to bet the fire bet. Let's go ahead and win that real fast. So craps roll 2-2. Craps bet fire for 1. And craps roll 2-2, establish a new point of 2. Hit the point of 2, or 4, sorry, hit the point of 4. Let's look at our formatting here. We have point was made fire points colon 4. Alright, so now let's 7 out. So craps roll 2 3, craps roll 3 4. Only one fire point made. I lost 1 buck because I only made 1. So now let's test 2 and see what 2 looks like. So craps bet fire for 1. Craps. Let's start with 10. Craps roll 5 5. Then we'll hit that. Craps roll 5 5. So I've made 1 fire point. Now let's set up a second fire point. So crap roll 4 5. We'll do the 9 next. Crap roll 4 5. We will hit that right away. Alright, so now we have our 2 fire points. Now let's do a point of 8 and then 7 out. So craps roll 4 4. Craps roll 3 4. Oops. Probably not going to be able to parse that. No, we were able to parse that. Okay. I'm a little surprised I was able to parse that. That's a little weird. I'll have to look up the JavaScript parse function and see what's going on there, because I'm a little surprised I was able to parse that. And that might affect other stuff. So let me just make a note of that before I forget. Investigate integer, JavaScript's integer parsing. Specifically, why does to quote parse as, well, what it was a 4 actually. Why does 4 tick parse as a 4 and not something else? Just a little concerned about that and want to experiment and see what's going on there. Okay, so we've, let's check our logic here, or check our output. So we had our 7 out, only 2 fire points were made, lost my 1 buck. Yeah, that looks good. So the next test is 3 points, just to make sure that the logic works for 3 points. So it's tedious, and I apologize, but we will just have to chew through our chat here. To maybe make this look a little bit cleaner, I'm going to pop out my chat. How do I pop that out here? There we go. Pop out my chat. Alright, well, so we'll start with a fire bet. So I say craps bet fire for 1. And now let's start backwards again. So craps roll 5 5. Craps roll 5 5. So we have 10 as our fire point. We're going for 3 fire points now to make sure that we still lose if we have 3 fire points. So now let's establish 9 as a fire point. So 4 5. And we'll hit that again. So fire points are now 9 and 10. Now let's establish 8 as our point. And hit to that. Fire points are now 8, 9, and 10. So now let's establish 6 as our point. And now let's 7 out. So we should still lose because we didn't actually hit our 4 points. Only 3 fire points made, lost our $1. Alright, now we get to the interesting point where we get to test winners. So up next is 4 winners, 4-point winners. Again, tedious to set up, but I will go through it here. So I'll do a different order to the points here. Let's do 4 first. And now 10. Oh, I forgot to make a fire bit. So craps bet fire for 1. And now let's start over. We'll say start with a 4, so craps roll 2-2. Do another 2-2. Then 5-5. And another 5-5. So this should give us 2 points, 2 fire points, our 4 and our 10. Let's go backwards, say the 9 and then the 5. So we'll hit the 4, 5. And hit the 9 again. So that gives us our 3 fire points, our 4, 9, and 10. Now let's hit the 5. So this will be a 2 and a 3. And a 3 and a 2. Alright, so we've hit 4 fire points, so no matter what happens, we're going to be guaranteed to win at least 24-1. Let's double check. Let's do a 6, and then a 7 out. There's only 4 fire points made. I won $24. Woohoo! Alright, so next up is the 5-point win. So let's start with the fire point. Craps bet fire for 1. And I'll just start rolling. Let's start with the inside and go out. So we'll say 3, 3. Let's go 2, 4. Then 4, 2. Let's go to the 8. So we'll say 2, 6. And 6, 2. So we've done 6 and 8. Let's now do 10 followed by 4. So we could do 4 and 6. And 6 and 4. So that'll be our 3rd point. We need a 4th point. We'll do 4 next. So we'll do 1 and 3, and then 3 and 1. So we have our 4 points. Now we need to establish our 6th point. Let's go with the 5. So craps roll 2, 3, then 3, 2. So that's our fifth point. We have our 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 all made. Now, let's do a new roll. Let's say craps roll. Let's go 4 again, just so I don't accidentally do the 5th or the 6th point here. And now let's do a 7 out. And verify we get paid 249 to 1. Nice. Now the final test is to do all 6 points. So super tedious. First let's start with the fire bet. So craps roll, or craps bet fire for 1. Kind of forgetting what I'm doing here. Craps bet fire for 1. Then craps roll. Let's go 6, 8, 9. Sorry, 8, 9, 10. And then 6, 5, 4. So 8 first. 3, 5. 5, 3. Then 4, 5. Then 5, 4. And there's 10, so we'll do what, 4, 6, 6, 4. So that is our 3 points made so far. Now let's go down, let's say 6, 5, 4. So for 6, let's do 2, 4. Let's just do 1, 5. And 5, 1. Now for 5, let's do 1, 4, 4, 1. So 1, 4. And 4, 1. Let's check. We've got 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. So we've got everything but the 4. So let's do 1, 3. And 3, 1. Alright, so I got paid. 999. Oh, what's wrong here? Why is it not giving me the message? So we have the point was made, but we're not getting the all points made message, so we've got a bug there. Well, that's going to be a pain to resolve. Let's go pop this back in. Sorry, it popped out. Can I show chat here? I think I brought it back into my dashboard, so I'll close it here. Yeah, so if we've hit our point... yes. This is the problem. Well, we could do... We could move all the Farpoint stuff. Well, we can't move that. We can move this to the end. Because again, the order doesn't matter here. You know, I was worried about the order of doing the process bets and the display of the fire points, but the messages always come first, no matter what order we do these things in. So even if we display this message first and then this message before we process the bet display will still go afterwards because of our bet handling logic. Alright, well, unfortunately that means we need to test this again. Unless I just cheat. Could probably add in a real quick cheat here. Just something nice and basic so we don't have to do all that work again. Because I think all the buildup works just fine, it's just that last step that I want to test again. So let's say else if command equals cheat. It'll do something here. We're on 767. We'll just reset all fire points to true. I should do it for everything but the number 4. To remove me. Yeah, so allow me to do a very quick kind of cheat test here to get the ball rolling. So let's give this a try. Now let's pop out the chat again so I can see. Well, it'll be simpler, so I won't worry about it too much. Let's start with a fire bet. So craps bet fire for 1. Why is that not doing anything? Oh, crap. This is the problem with doing these combined ifs. Actually, we need to do this. There we go. Because the else was apparently applying itself to this if, which I know it's probably going to be really weird. I'm not sure what that would do there. So yeah, I don't know. We'll start with this. Let's remove this section, or add a note to remove this section. Remove me. And try this one more time. So craps bet fire for 1. Bet made for 1 unit. Now let's do craps cheat. There will be no output on this, it'll just do it. I'm going to say craps roll. Well, let's just verify that the cheat works. Craps roll 3-3, so this should say all points but the 4 have been hit. Yeah, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Now let's go ahead and hit the 4. So craps roll 2-2. Craps roll 3-1. All 6 fire points made. Cute Pixel 1, 999. Woohoo! Yeah, so that seems like a good change there. And the other thing I conceivably consider changing about this is to change the emote around that to do a more interesting emote. See what we got here. the give, please, and take energy is down below. There's kapow, possible option. Here's mercy wings. Those are options if I wanted to have a different approach to kind of bookend the messages. If I liked this over give, please, take energy. Stinky cheese. There's like a flame icon at some point. I guess it's curse slit. I don't know, I think I'll stick with what I got. Stick with the basic emotes, the give energy, take please emotes. I can always add in different emotes down the road if something comes up. I suppose there's PogChamp that's always shows up fairly often for surprising things. I suppose that might be... I can find it here. People's Champ Perma. There it is, PogChamp. That could be an option as well. So lots of different options for different emotes if I wanted to highlight that unusual case a little bit differently. But I think let's stick with what we got. And also, let's actually confirm at this point that I'm able to make another fire bet. So say craps bet fire for 1. And yes, the bet was made. Okay, craps bets. Craps balance. My balance is probably out there because I've been winning all these fire bets here. Make sure that these cooldowns are still in place. So craps bets doesn't work still. Craps balance doesn't work still. So looking pretty good so far. Let's go ahead and remove the cheat. The final thing we need to do is add the fire bet to our guide. So let's go ahead and look at that here. I think we did these in the same order we've put them in the code. So I'm going to do the fire bet here. Swing 4 to 1. 5 points. Pays 249 to 1. 6 points. Pays 999 to 1. That's going to continue rolling in the background because I have a fire bet out, and I'll let that go while I continue to look at this stuff here. I think that looks good. So yeah, I think we're ready to start looking at our diff and see where we're at here. Alright, so I've added a new fire bets map. That basically tracks the fire bets, and we've added a fire points array that tracks the fire points that have been made. We've added a new function, reset fire points, that iterates over the fire points array, indexes 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and sets each of those values in that array to false. We call that new function at the beginning of init. We've added fire points to the available balance calculation. We've added a fire point count function, because it iterates over all of the fire points in the array, and for each one that is set to true, we increment our count and return that count. We've added a helper function to display fire points. I don't think that was strictly needed anymore, because I only do this in one spot, but I liked having that pulled out. And so that's why I've pulled that out there. Oh, interesting. We've made no fire points. I think I had a fire bet. Yeah, let's double check here. I made a fire bet here that existed. We hit a 6. So we established a point of 6. We had a 5 and then a 7. So we had a 7 out with no fire points made. And so we probably want to look at that. If we hit no points whatsoever, I think we want to display that as well. So let's look at that. Yeah, so I said a fire point count is greater than 0. We do that. How about we do this? Let's bring in this. Process, if fire, let's see, process, fire, that's if they exist. And what we want to do here is grab this block and grab this. Then this no longer matters. Display fire point count. So this way, if it's 0, oh, we need to adjust this. If it is, if fire point is equal to 1. We'll do no S, otherwise we'll do S. So we have 0 fire points made, 1 fire point made, 2 or more fire points made. So the plural is on the 0 or greater than 1. Singular on 1 only. Now let's go ahead and give that a quick try here. So let's do a quick fire bet. So craps bet fire for 1. Let's set a point of 4, or roll a point of 4, and then 7 out right away. Only 0 fire points made. The only word kind of makes no sense if it's 0. So I could say, let's reverse this. If fire point count is equal to 0, we can do, I don't know, figure it out. No fire points made. Else, we do this. Or I can be more elaborate. With this stuff here, say plus. Fire point count is equal to 0. If that is true, we could say no. Otherwise, we can say only plus fire count. Oops. Trying to make this be somewhat readable here. It's a little bit messy. So we have give please. A fire point count is 0. We say no. Otherwise we say only X. And fire point, if fire count is equal to 1, we do singular, otherwise we do plural. Oh, I think we can combine this. Do that, that. I think that's sensible enough. I think that's readable enough. And then we can drop this guy. A little bit crummy, but the logic's a little bit hard to read, but I think that'll work. Let's give that a try and see what that does for us here. No, it doesn't like something. Unexpected token else on line 51. Alright. We got rid of the if, so we can get rid of the else here. Unexpected string, line 51. Let's see, it's actually something else, line 689. Ah, we need a question mark here. And we're missing a close. No, it's here. Close run is there, so yeah, I think that works. Let's give that another try. Alrighty. So yes, as before, let's bet a fire bet. So craps bet fire for 1. Craps roll 2-2. Craps roll 3-4. No fire points made. Alright, now let's try that with 1 fire point made and make sure that that message shows up. So say craps bet fire for 1, craps roll 2-2, craps roll 2-2. It'll sound like a broken record, but we'll do another 2-2. And then a 3-4. So it should say only 1 fire point made. Something didn't work there. Let's go take a look at our code. Let's just add a new message here. This on message, let's do a pog champ plus fire point count. Because as far as I'm aware, fire point count should be 1 here. And we should not be hitting... we should not be displaying 0. So I'm not sure what happened there. So let's just give this another try and see what this does here. So craps bet fire for 1. Craps roll 2-2. Let's hit that. Then let's set a new point of 4. And then 7 out. Huh. So something is broken here. Our fire point count is coming up as 0. For some strange reason, even though we have 1 fire point made. Oh, I see the issue. Because we reset fire points here. So let's move that. To the end of this. That is the problem. And so with that, we no longer need this. Drop that. Let's give that another try. Let's say craps bet fire for 1. Craps roll 2-2 to establish a point of 4. Then let's hit that point of 4. Now let's hit that one more time, or set a point of 4 one more time, and then 7 out, and we should see the singular case show up now. Only 1 fire point made. Excellent. So now let's try once again with no points made to make sure that the 0 case works still. Oh, you know what? I forgot to place the fire bet, so craps bet fire for 1. Set a point of 4, and then 7 out. No fire points made. Excellent. So now let's try the plural case. So we've tried 0, we've tried 1. Next up is to try 2 points and make sure that that works. So let's bake another fire bet. Craps bet fire for 1. Let's do a point of 2. Or sorry, a point of 4, and then hit that. Now a point of 5. And hit that as well. So now we have 2 fire points. Now let's hit a point of 4 and 7 out. Only 2 fire points made, so that does seem to be working just fine. Cool, so let's continue our code review. Alright, so I'll just start at the top again. We've added the new fire bets map, where we store the actual the actual bets. It maps usernames to their bet amounts. We've added a fire points array. That is a sparse array with indices 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. And you can see how we set it up here in the new function for resetting fire points. We basically set each one to false. It's an array of booleans, and we set each value to false for 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. We call that at the beginning of the init function. We incorporate fire bets into the available balance computation. We've added a new function for fire point count. This basically iterates over all of the indices in that fire points array and counts up all the ones that are true and returns the count of true values in that array. Display which fire points have been made. We've added display fire points. Get the fire point count. If it's 6, we have our special message, all 6 fire points made. And we may at some point add in a special message there or a special emote or something, but that's what we got for right now. Else, if fire point count is greater than 0, we iterate over each fire point, we iterate over each index in the array, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. If it's true, we append the number to our fire point display. At the very end, print that out, fire points colon the fire point display. We do some formatting here. If it's the second or greater number, we add a comma followed by a space. Otherwise, we just print out the number. Then in processing bets, we've added logic to mark the points as they get made. So if fire bets exist, mark the fire points. So if fire bet size is greater than 0, we set that fire point to true. Then we've added in this display fire points. Let's see here. Let me double check this. If fire point count. Alright, so if fire point count is greater than 0, we proceed and display. If it's 0, we don't display anything. So that still works. I was just wondering if we need to do a check before we just call that function. It looks like no, that the function does nothing if we have no fire points. But specifically, if we have no fire bets, there'd be no fire points, so that's a safe call there. Pay out fire bet if all 6 points are made. And we've tested that. If fire point count is equal to 6, process the bet. Multiplier is 999. We reset fire points. Alright, then on to 7 out, we process fire bets if they exist. So if fire bet size is greater than 0, we process fire bets. Now we get the fire point count. If it's 4, we pay out the fire bets with a multiplier of 24. If the fire point count is 5, we pay them off with a multiplier of 249. Otherwise, they've lost. They are 0, 1, 2, or 3 count. Those all lose. The 6 is handled up above, so we don't handle the 6 down below. So this is why we only check the 4 and the 5 here. Then after we do all that, we display the fire point count so we can see why did you lose. If it's 0, we say no fire points were made, or no fire points made. Otherwise, we say only fire point count points were made, and we have the plural case there to decide whether we append the S or not, and we've tested all of that. At the very end, we reset our fire points. We had an issue where we reset fire points beforehand, and by the time we needed the fire point count, it wasn't available, so we reset those here now. Continuing on, we have more infrastructure work. We check to see if fire bets exist. I think this is for the bets exist function. Here we have bet display. We've added the fire bets to that as well. Then here we have the bet handling. We've added a check on fire. If the bet starts with fire, we call handle bet with fire as the type. Pass in the fire bets map. Then we pass in the fire check function. And we'll look at that in a second. That shows up down below. Here we iterate over the fire points array. Actually, we could simplify this. We could call fire point check here, or fire point count. Now let's do that. Let's simplify that. This is under fire check. Let's go look at that real fast. Let's look for fire check. So we can say if fire count is greater than 0, you cannot bet fire once a point has been made. So let's go ahead and test that real fast. It's a non-trivial change just to make sure that that does work the way we would expect. And so to do this, I will run a test from stream elements. It will bet a fire bet here. And then let's do a roll of 2, 2. And so I should not be able to place a bet here. Perhaps bet fire for 1, because while we have no points made, the point is set right now. Now let's make that point. Craps roll 2, 2. Craps bet fire for 1. You cannot bet fire once a point has been made. I think I want to change that message to say you cannot bet fire once a fire point has been made. So let's try that, see what we think of that message. So again, test. And craps bet fire of 1 and make sure that the correct message shows up now. You cannot bet fire once a fire point has been made. Excellent. So now let's do another bet, or not another bet, but our craps will hit the point, then let's 7 out. And finally, let's make sure we can make the bet again here. Craps bet fire. Oh, getting tired. Craps bet fire for 1. Excellent, that does work. Let's just do a quick 7 out here. Craps roll 2, 2. Craps roll 3, 4. Just to make sure that logic still works. I think I've tested it, but just wanted to look at it again, make sure that it still works there. Great. So I'm going to continue to go through the diff. I will bet a fire bet here so we can just do some stochastic testing while we just consider our diff here. So this was part of our fire check is where we got to. If fire point count is greater than 0, we do the message username. You cannot bet fire once a fire point has been made. We've tested all of that. If point is not equal to 0, you cannot bet fire when a point is set. We've tested that as well. Otherwise, we'll return true. We've added our documentation. Fire 4 points pays 24 to 1. 5 points pays 249 to 1. 6 points pays 999 to 1. And I think to keep my documentation consistent with my code, 4 fire points pays, 5 fire points pays, and 6 fire points pays. 999 to 1. Alright, I think we're good. I think I've removed all of the to-dos. Let's just make sure I don't have any to-dos left. Nope, they're all gone. And I glanced through the code. I didn't see anything that jumped out to me as a problem here, so I think we are ready to commit. Let's go do this here. Let's actually steal our log message from before. Add support for fire bets. Add support for fire bet. I lost my buck. No. Let's go ahead and push this code to GitHub. We've made a change to our documentation. Now we don't need any of this crap anymore. Actually, I did want the player guide. Let's go bring up the player guide. Gee, thanks GitHub. Great time to remind me to do this now. You remind me later. I got distracted by that. Alright, so we've added the fire bit. Fire, 4 fire points, space 24 to 1, 5 fire points, space 249 to 1, 6 fire points, space 999 to 1. And I think we're good. That's all pushed. If you want to check out the code, you can go to github.com. It's all been pushed there. I'll send out a quick link in chat here. Okay, let me look at my notes here. So we've completed fire. The next bets are the bottom, top, all. Which is fairly similar to fire. There's some differences, but you know, the work we've done for fire will hopefully help with the bottom, top, all bets, and we won't have to redo all of this work from scratch for that. And I suspect once I hit bottom, top, all, those are all the bets I'm going to add for the moment, unless somebody really wants some of these other bets. I might add Horn and World, because they're somewhat popular, but we'll see. Big 6-8, they're terrible bets, so they're easy to implement, so I might do it just because they're easy. But we'll see. Bottom, top, all, those are next. Those are another major bet, and all the other work that we've talked about. For today, though, I think I'm done for today. I've kind of been doing this for 3.5 hours and got to grab some lunch. And got some other things to do today. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. My next stream will be 1 week from today, Sunday, April 14th at 9 a.m. Please note that while I do tend to stream every Sunday around this time, the week after next week, so April 21st, is Easter Sunday, and I may not stream on Easter Sunday, so I'm not going to commit to that right away. And the week after that, I am out all weekend long. I'll have a conflict that following weekend. So I'll stream on the 14th, but I might take 2 weeks off after that. So just be mindful of that. What I might do is I might add some middle of the week streams to make up for it. So we'll see what my schedule looks like. There'll be at least a couple of Sundays where I'm going to have to take off in a row there. But anyways, I will be back next week. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.